All right, breadcrumbs, how to listen for them. So sellers are really rarely going to tell you their real motivation up front. They'll leave clues. Your job is to listen for them, slow down, and follow the trail as deep as it goes. So, what's a breadcrumb and why you need to follow them? So, breadcrumb is just a word, a phrase, hesitation, or offhand comment that hints at something deeper. Sellers don't always share their real pain up front, especially in the first like 5 to 10 minutes of the conversation. They're going to be guarded. They're going to be kind of feeling out the conversation, or they don't think that it's relevant, but they will let things slip just naturally. And that's why we ask these questions. That's why we get them talking to understand what's going on. So your job is to hear them and then follow that. So think of it like peeling back an onion, right? Every layer you pull back is going to open up more layers underneath. The more you follow a particular breadcrumb, the closer you get to the real motivation. And that motivation is the only thing that's going to help you close deals. So why sellers don't just tell you, right? They're guarded, right? Maybe they've had a ton of these conversations before. Maybe they've been burned before. They're testing whether you're different. They're just kind of filling out the conversation, seeing if it's worthwhile, seeing if they can trust you. So the ones who do a really good job here are the ones who listen, who can hear these particular words where they know they need to follow up. Be like, oh, you mentioned this. Be like, oh, you mentioned we. What do you mean by that? Or who's the other person in this? So we talk about the onion principle. So every breadcrumb you follow opens up more beneath it. So you ask them one question and then they'll mention a few different things where you can pull on any one of those threads. So don't just pull one layer and move on. Stay there. Ask another question, then another one, and stay as long as they let you because they'll keep revealing more information as you go along. When you hear a breadcrumb, stop. Right? Don't just move to the next question that you have on your list. Right? The script is a guide, but it's not something where you hit this question, then you go exactly to this next question. You may be at this question, and then you may go off and talk about something for 5 or 10 minutes, but you want to loop back to the script. So don't rush through that. We is also a breadcrumb, right? We've been thinking about it. We're not sure. That's a signal that there's another person involved. So that's a breadcrumb I almost see all the time, right? They're not going to say like, hey, this other person is a decision maker. But if they say we, be like, oh, when you say we, who are you referring to? Oh, you and your husband? Okay, gotcha. And what does he think about you selling or about selling the property? Gotcha. Yeah, I know some people the husband wants to sell, wife doesn't type of thing, but sounds like you guys are on the same page. How long have you guys been thinking about it? Right? So now you can start to dig and get more information. So listen, pause, follow as deep as possible. So hear the whole sentence, right? Be fully present while the seller is talking. Don't think about your next question. Listen for the emotion words, words that tell you how the seller actually feels. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. Like when you hear one, that's your thread. Pull on it. So like someone says like, "Hey, I'm just so exhausted from dealing with it." Like, "Hey, when you say exhausted, like what's been going on, or how long has this been going on, whatever it may be." Don't rush to the next question. When you hear something that hints at a deeper feeling, you want to stop, pause, let them expand potentially if you feel like they're going to. If not, then you ask the question, right? Uh, my husband's health has been declining and I just can't manage this house anymore. You can ask about the husband's health, right? You can ask about managing the house anymore. So if you go down the husband's health question, then you want to remember that you can also go back to the manage question. So let's say you say like 5 minutes of like my husband's health hasn't been good. You find out that he has cancer and she's been managing the house by herself. You might ask like, how are you holding up managing the house? What does that entail? Did all that fall on your husband initially and now you're having to take responsibility for it? There's a million ways to dig into this, but we want to be able to hear all these different breadcrumbs. So again, follow and keep following. Every answer is going to reveal more information that it will have more breadcrumbs that you can follow and pull on. All right, real breadcrumbs, what they signal, hear the phrase, identify what's underneath and follow it. I just want to be done with it, right? When you say done with it, what do you mean by that? It's just exhausting. Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay, when you say exhausting, like I talk to people all the time, and I know some say that it's a struggle dealing with this, some say it's struggle dealing with that. Like, what's got you so exhausted dealing with it? We've been thinking about it. We're not sure. We, right? Who else is on the conversation? It's complicated, right? What's complicated about it? We want to dig into that. Um, I probably shouldn't even be talking to you. These are all objections too that you're gonna hear. Um, the property's just sitting there. How long has it been sitting? Like, what's that costing you? My family member's health. Like, you want to understand like what's going on. This is just general, like you want to dig into these things, right? So breadcrumbs, it really goes into just digging deeper on motivation, but you want to train your ear to try to hear these breadcrumbs because you're going to miss them initially. Someone's going to say something and you're just going to gloss right over it. And we don't want that to happen. We want to train that out of you ASAP. We want you to be just like your ears are just like hearing every single little thing that they say because it will just make conversation so much easier for you as well, right? Like you at a certain point you'll always use the script. I use it all the time, even after having done this 10,000 times. But you could have a conversation and start with two questions, and then you could just go off those questions for the rest of the call because they're just going to reveal information. They're just going to talk to you and they're going to feel comfortable, and then they'll open up more. And then you could get into the real motivation, the real impact it's having them, how they cry at night or how they are struggling with the payment and it's putting so much stress and anxiety and they don't want the kids to know, right? And we want to know these things because at the end of the day, like our solution will help them get this monkey off their back. All right, so rules, common mistakes. So rules, follow the breadcrumb as deep as the seller will let you. Keep peeling the onion. When you hear we, that's another breadcrumb, follow it, right? Use the seller's words back to them. For breadcrumbs, it's like when you say X, what do you mean by that? I guess that sort of thing. Stay in the impact step longer than any other part of the call. This is true. This part of the call might be 25 minutes long, could be longer because you just keep digging, you keep understanding why they're looking to sell. You want to be able to obviously when you're jotting down notes about all this, you want to be able to jot down notes about your whole conversation. Uh, Common mistakes: don't move past the breadcrumb just to get back on the script. I don't care if you go off the script for 15 minutes, as long as you're digging deeper into these things. But then you're going to get back on the script. Don't just ask one follow-up question and then move on. That's not peeling, that's just scratching the surface. So make sure you stay on that, and tying this into and using third-party stories as well helps people open up more. Let's see. We talked about like filling silence, letting the seller continue. Obviously, if the seller's going, like you don't have to rush to ask the next question. Give them space to talk, give them space to expand on what they're saying. Let's see. Yeah. And then these other things like treating hesitation phrases as noise instead of signals. Um, you'll get a feel for those sorts of things as you have calls. So drill it. I mean, I've just been dealing with a lot lately. What do you mean by a lot? What's been going on? And then you can ask, how long has it been like this? You can use a third party story, like how's it affecting them, that sort of thing. We've been going back and forth on this for a while. We, influencer, looks like there's an internal disagreement. Like, hey, when you say we, like, who are you talking about? Oh, my husband. Be like, gotcha. And when you say, like, you've been going back and forth on this for a while, like, do you guys want to sell or do you not want to sell? Or what do you mean by that? My daughter thinks I should keep it. I don't know, right? Um, you can ask this question. It sounds like you and your daughter are in different places. What does your gut tell you? Or like, it sounds like you want to sell and your daughter doesn't. Like, why doesn't she want to sell? And be like, oh, well, she's been living there for free for a while, so on and so forth, and she doesn't think it's good. It's a good idea to sell. But I gotcha. Totally understand. Do you? I know. I actually worked with someone recently. So you'd use a third party story here. So it'd be something like, hey, I know I actually dealt with something similar where it was a mom looking to sell the property, and her daughter was also living there for not free, but for uh, pretty discounted rents. And uh, what the mom found, because she wanted to sell, was she ended up selling to us, and she just got a huge sense of relief to be able to get that off her plate. And while it inconvenienced her daughter for a bit, she felt much better about it and she was able to move forward with her life and do X, Y, and Z. What would it mean to you if you were able to sell this? Right? Then they'll tell you a bit more about what it would mean to them. So that's how you would handle that sort of thing. So it's a matter of just drilling this out, right? Last one is just it's complicated and you can just stay silent for a bit And then if they don't expand, be like, hey, when you say complicated, what do you mean by that? Right? You're not just going to go to the next question in the script, right? You want to dig into that. So that's it. Let me know any questions, and I'll see you on the next one.